coming up here in a minute, and we got a very special guest to bring in as well in about 5 to 10 minutes. That is Dr. Plus of Real Bucks Talk will be joining us on today's episode. The great Michael Plus over at Real Bucks Talk. But without further ado, we got a live chat popping. We got the great co-host J-Lo in the house, and we got our guy Gene from Buc What Ya Heard in the house as well. We had a nice little post-game show on Sunday too. Gene, how the hell you doing, brother? Long time no talk. Always better to talk after a win.
Exactly, man. That was a win that actually got me excited. It was one of those games, and I'm going to be honest, feet to the fire. I did not see the Bucks winning this game. It was going to be a huge test. And as I said, in the weeks leading up to this game, it's going to be a measuring stick to show where the Bucks really are. Historically, we've seen where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have struggled with games like this. And, with the level of talent that they have, they went out and executed. It wasn't the prettiest, but they grinded it out and got the win.
You're certainly right on that. And we're going to talk about the win, break it down, and so much more. Wasn't the prettiest, but a win's a win against a team like that on the road. We'll take that all damn day, Mr. Gene. So happy to be joined by you talking about this. We're also joined by Zach Jarvis, Christopher Cole, Bucks Trace Bolt, Steppen Peppin. You were at the game, our fellow Canadian. You brought us the win. Think about that. The great Steppen Peppin said he was the most hated person in Ford Field. J-Lo, thoughts on that? Gene, thoughts on that?
I love it. Hey, as long as we've got a presence there, they're our old division rivals. I mean, I would probably compare the Lions to the Carolina Panthers, maybe. I mean, in comparison, where for me, Green Bay was the Atlanta Falcons, the Minnesota Vikings were the New Orleans Saints to me. So just kind of in comparison, when you're looking at,
can you all hear me?
Yeah, what up, Cats? How we doing?
Cats, what's going on, brother?
Could you hear us, Cats? All right, we'll work on that. Let's see. We could hear you, Cats. If that helps. We'll work on that. Let's see if we could get him going here. But Gene, finish with your thoughts, if you would like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things where it's good to have those fans there, and like I said, I made the comparison. I think to me, Detroit. I mean, if you're making comparisons like the old division versus the new, to me they're more like the Carolina Panthers. And if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and get my highlights out of the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Do the highlights. Got my Cigar City. This is the official beer of the Buc What Ya Heard Buccateers podcast. This is what we're drinking.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
You still can't. We could hear you.
You can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Yep.
Yes. Let's see what's going on. But we do have Cats back in some capacity.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll work on that.
So
try. I'll text him on the side. Keep going, G.
With this game, another stellar performance by Baker Mayfield. I think the interception that Baker Mayfield threw, I think there was confusion on the route. It looked like there wasn't enough separation between the two wide receivers, and I think that ended up being that's where we ended up seeing that pick. But if you look at what Baker Mayfield did, making plays with his legs, making smart plays, not putting the team in a bad position. I think it's still a work in progress with Liam Cohen. I love what we've seen from him. And, I'm 100% happy with the offense. I would love to see more of the running game. I think that's a work in progress as well. But I think it's going to be something we're going to see a whole lot more of in the weeks to come. I think this is going to be a good game versus the Denver Broncos coming up. So, first off, I'd like to say, on the offensive side of the ball, Baker Mayfield. On the defensive side of the ball, Servassier Dennis. I don't think he's gotten enough love from the fans. The way he's been playing away from the ball and around the ball, I love what he's doing, and he's only going to get better. When you consider last season with the injuries he has, this is like basically his rookie season. So those are my two highlights right there. Again, if we're talking about progress and somebody you want to keep an eye on, He's Savasier Dennis. CJ Brewer is another one that I feel like the fan base really needs to keep an eye on and watch what he does throughout the season.
Couldn't agree more with you there, Mr. Gene. We do have Katz back. We're trying to get Katz back. It's his debut here on the season of the Buccateers, but what debut would it be without some technical difficulties? So we're
that's the
working
adventures of live streaming, man.
Yeah, I remember last time Plus was on, nobody could hear me. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Either Plus hates me or, nobody could hear me. Before we bring in our great friend Plus, J-Lo, how's it going over there, brother? How we doing?
Doing good, man. 2-0, man, undefeated. And welcome Dr. Pless, man, who was there live himself. I know he had a really good time over there. I can imagine all the booing he got over in the stadium.
Super loud.
Mr. Plus, you brought us home a victory. You and Big J did it. First of all, hope the game was great, brother. How was Detroit? How was the game? How was the environment? Kind of give the peeps a rundown of your little bit of time in Motown you had, my friend.
No, it was really cool. Great experience, great environment. Overall, it was, everyone was really nice. I mean, there's a couple idiots here or there that have been, obviously drinking a little bit too much, saying some random things. But other than that, it was awesome. Super loud stadium. The fans get really into it. And it was a great game, obviously, from start to finish. Probably a game the Bucs shouldn't have won, but they found a way to pull it out. And I think that shows marks of a really good team, and I think that's what we have here, guys. A really good football team that I think proved that they are legit contenders this season. And I think you can expect this team to continue to get better week in and week out. And I feel really good as a Buccaneers fan and also someone that analyzes this team that we're in this kind of stage as it's really a great time. For Bucs fans, this is, I think, just the beginning of what we're seeing here.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Mr. Plus. We're going to try the great Katz again. Katz, can you hear us?
I can. Can you believe this?
Hey,
Kenny, that's incorrect. Don't be coming with the Saints stuff. I see that. No. Oh, Eric Moreno, I'm sorry for getting mad at you last week. Nothing you did wrong. I was totally on me, and I apologize. You're good, brother.
It's always a party with Kat. We got Plus in the house, Kat's in the house, Gene in the house, J-Lo in the house. It's like a great episode of Cheers or Full House going on in here. Kat's
Full House. Bob Saget's dead, though. It's not the same. If that's what you meant. I saw him live, in Clearwater, and it was epic. I saw it with my mother, too, and that was the best part of it because she laughed her ass off. She's like, he's so rude and inappropriate, and I love it. Anyway, rest in peace, Mom. Love you.
I honestly, man, that's terrible of me. I forgot Bob Saget passed away for a minute. That's
because everyone else has passed away since. There's so many people passing away. It's sad. It's really sad. Shit, the 2012 Bucs wide receivers corpse is dead. They're dead, literally. It's terrible. And the tight end from a few years earlier is no, never mind.
You're not wrong though, Katz. Mike Williams gone, Vincent Jackson gone, and
Daquan Underwood's alive.
And
I think
an old tight end we had is off to a scarier life. We'll put it like that. But
Toes on the line. Toes on the line. Literally now.
Something was on the line with Kellen.
Oh gosh!
Sure what?
His nose was on the line.
Yeah, well, several people's noses were on the lines. I think back in that locker room, for better or for worse. But
gosh, and look. Let me tie that into something. Juxtapose that with the locker room we have now. This is one of the look. I'm not going to sit here and say the Bucs are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're not. They are a tough group of motherfuckers. That's how I would describe this group. They take on the personality of their quarterback. Like I said, I don't know. It's like, is anyone ever going to call Baker a franchise quarterback? Who cares? That's such a cliche term anyway. I don't know if Pletz would agree or not. I think it's a cliche. But he's a guy you want to run through a wall for. You want to run through a wall for, whether you're both sides of the ball. Who's our right tackle that couldn't block the guy? school. He wanted so badly to just to block Hutchinson just once. Could he? Not really. But you could see he's like, I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. He's like, Luke or whoever he's talking to, we're trying to block him. Can you please block him? I don't want him on my quarterback anymore. Anyway. Yeah.
No, you're not wrong, Cats. I think the thing that changes this group from years past is the locker room, the toughness, the grit. Ironically enough, we just beat the Lions, and we're talking about grit, but that's for damn sure, Cat. So I'm super glad to have you back, brother. It's been a very long time. Before we do dip into Bucks and the rest of the show, just give us an update on you. You good, man? How's everything going?
Day to day is really the best answer I have. I suddenly need to shave after I was totally shaven a few weeks ago. So I look bad. I look like I have an extra chin. I really don't. No, everything is good. Rays had a down year. What can you do? But you know what? It doesn't matter because, did you know that before them missing the playoffs here, a combined 6, maybe plus knew this, it was a combined 17 consecutive playoff berths by Tampa Bay sports teams before the Rays are not going to make it this year. And that is, well, kind of nirvana for me. They didn't all win championships, but 3 of them did, and that's a pretty good ratio. So, yeah, no, that's a great stat, though. Just wanted to share that.
Yeah, it is, and it's really great to have you back, Cats. I thought about you all off season, and I'm like, Cats is probably ready for Bucks football with the year the Rays had. Not that they were awful, but you lose a guy like Wander, you get all those injuries.
I have updates on that case too, but I don't want to get into it now. But good things are happening with that, but I don't want to get into that on this particular show. So we'll have to talk about that in DM. But you're right, as far as on the field, yes, that doesn't help, among other things. You're right. We'll leave it at that.
We'll have our own Wander update. Speaking of update, though, Dr. Plus, I want to get your highlights from the game. And KB says, look at this casting crew. Yes, we're all in the house. But Plus, we do something. Gene thought of a great thing called highlights, because we had our bear bracketology. Cats fill you in as well this offseason. We did our bear bracketology where we had the listeners drink some beer and vote on a winner for the Buccateers and Buc What Ya Heard. So now we celebrate with Cigar City Brewing High Life. So now we got highlights from High Life. Plus, what are your thoughts on the highlights from this past Sunday? What were your takeaways? What were your highlights from the big win?
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is a coaching staff that I think on both sides of the ball can make in-game adjustments. And I think that has been maybe one of the biggest takeaways I've seen so far this season, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You have that big play made by Baker Mayfield, ability to extend drives with his legs. And then right after that, Liam Cohen goes to the QB draw to set up the go-ahead score. I thought that was really nice to see because it was a great call in that time, especially inside the red zone there. And then also just the utilization of Chris Godwin and finding ways to get that guy the football. The touchdown pass to him, it was a perfect call. They set it up with a fake screen to the left and then had Godwin on the wheel route. Knowing that the Lions are playing a lot of base defense with their personnel, and you had the mismatch there, and just a great play overall. But then, another point is just how tough and how mentally prepared this defense is from having so many guys down. Antoine Winfield being out, not having Vita Vea, and just being able to, bounce back when adversity hits. Detroit is pretty much controlling the ball for most of the game. They had 86 snaps to the Bucks. I think it was 46 snaps on offense. That's crazy. And usually you don't win those games. When you look at it from that standpoint, the game probably could have been a blowout in Detroit's favor, but you found a way to stop them inside the red zone. And just come up with huge plays. Can't say enough about Zion McCollum, Christian Izzy, and Servatier Dennis, Jordan Whitehead. I mean, just studs back there making plays.
Yeah, and I do want to give a quick public service announcement. I do get asked quite some time as we have a great chat room right now. KB's cracking me up. He calls himself Derek Carr, one of one.
Oh,
Spinning
God.
off. That's Katz's pal Jameis, one of one.
Oh man, is he still alive even? I figured by now he'd gone on and made another alias to try to sell some cards or someone else's cards. Good Lord.
I think she or he or I still haven't found. I think it's a girl. If I still were to,
I think so too, but never know.
I think she's drinking her sorrows away. But now, we got more sorrows to be had. But I do want to say something, or good times to be had. I'm sorry. I do want to give a public service announcement quick. I get asked a ton about these jerseys and stuff in the background. Where do you get him? How do I get him? Breaking news. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers came to terms in agreement with a deal with the memorabilia company called Metablia, Bucks Bids, it's going to be called, where the website is going to get 4 Buccaneers game-worn jerseys every week, put up for auction, put up for bids through the Buccaneers home website. For the first time ever, the Bucks are making memorabilia available to the public straight from the locker room themselves. Going to be insanity, probably not good for my pockets, but I'll worry about that later. But just wanted to let people know where to get some memorabilia. Bucks Bids from Metablia. It's interesting stuff. They already got some cool. I've seen a Vita Vea already went for $1,500. And Antoine, I know these things are expensive, man. Antoine Winfield already went for over a grand. Bucky Irving's jersey from Bucks Bengals preseason went for $2,500.
Wow.
2.5.
Oh,
These things are getting insanely priced. So, it's probably going to tap me out of a lot. But anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. Will the Brewers says big road win. Let's fucking go. It was an absolutely big road win. And that's why I'll get to my highlights quick. I'm just going to give it simply put as followed. A couple of things I want to touch on quick before we get to a look at the NFC South with the gang and so much more. It is Buccateers Live, Buc What You Heard Live. We got a great crew in the house. Gene, Katz, J-Lo, Pless. I think I got everybody, but I'm going to have to start keeping an attendance sheet. What the hell's going on here? Who's in, who's out, who's all about. But I do want to give my highlights real quick. Baker Mayfield. His completions weren't out the roof, right? I think 12, 13 completions, something sitting around there. But at the end of the day, the heart, the hustle, the muscle, the grit, the determination and toughness, some of you alluded to it, Katz. I know you said toughness. Plus, I know you gave a kudos as well. I just want to say one thing. Tom Brady, a lot of people, what they had to say in his last year, and I don't know what the hell him and Giselle were doing in the bedroom. That's for them to find out, or maybe not doing in the bedroom. I'm not really, who the hell knows, but evidently she was spending more time with the Karate Kid. But nonetheless, Tom Brady had a rough last year in Tampa, not only personal wise, but on the field, where his numbers still good comparably to other Bucks quarterbacks of years past, of yesteryear. Absolutely. And sure. And there's no knock on Tom Brady. But one thing that I do have to say, I think I heard it out of everybody's mouths here. Gene's on Buc What You Heard, plus on Real Bucks Talk. Katz on this program. J-Lo, I think you were posting in forums at the time on Reddit. No, I'm just kidding. But no matter who the hell it was here, everybody at one point alluded to the fact that we love Brady, but maybe mobility in the pocket could bring a benefit to this football team. Maybe mobility in the pocket could bring benefits. And,
just real quick, just to kind of go along with that, Baker Mayfield, and I mentioned this before, can read defenses. And watching him checking in and out of plays, there was a couple of times in that Detroit game where he didn't like what he saw and he kind of switched it up at the line of scrimmage. And you could see that. And that gives me confidence that he's comfortable enough to do it, and he's comfortable enough to make plays, doing it.
No, you're absolutely right. And Gene, we talked about, I think last week we said how, hey, it is nice to have a QB who could read defenses here. Obviously, outside of Tom Brady, it's been quite some time. But even with Tom Brady, brought an aspect that we could get more mobile. And just last year and the couple games this year alone, Baker's done a great job, as Gene says, reading defenses, changing plays at the line of scrimmage, taking things in his own hand and his own brains and making potential negative plays into positives. But he's also done a hell of a job extending plays with his legs. There were multiple times in week 1 and multiple times in week 2 where Baker Mayfield should have been sacked. And again, Brady's last year, I don't know if our line was bad or he was a little more timid or he was scared, but we saw a lot of balls get thrown into the feet of the linemen and a lot of pressures being had and incapabilities to escape. Here you have Baker Mayfield. Not only is he reading defenses, changing plays at the line of scrimmage, but he's running around like a damn ping pong ball out there. You can't bring the guy down, whether it's a planned run like we've seen on that touchdown quarterback draw, or whether it's a freaking escape the pocket and make your own plays with your legs. The mobility of Baker Mayfield cannot go unnoticed. I know he lost weight this offseason, and we had people comment on this program, oh, Vita and Baker losing weight, is that really the best thing, blah, blah, blah. You already see Baker changing it into great things by escaping pockets. And yes, he did it last year too, but he even looks quicker this year. I love that guy, man. I mean, his wife's lucky and his kid's lucky and the whole city of Tampa's lucky and his family's lucky. I mean, this is a guy. I wish I could hang out with this guy every damn day and really just pick his brain and maybe copy some of his outfits along the way as well, because he's got some class and he's got some style on and off
He's the not born in Florida man who is the Florida man. I've always said that. He is the consummate Florida man. He just wasn't born in Florida. That's fine. He is a Florida man. He fits this area very well, his persona.
He does fit this area well. And again, that's another thing, not a knock on Brady, but, you know, Brady had kind of the famous persona where, you know, I don't blame him. He wants to live in the limelight. Here, you get Baker up and down the street drinking some brews, and probably not to that extent, obviously.
Bro, Tampa changes you, though. I mean, the Brady in Tampa was not the Brady in New England.
He loosened up a lot.
You're in Tampa long enough. It'll change you.
Yeah. Yeah, he got some Florida man in him at that parade, that's for sure. I saw him up close in person. I'm like, whoa, that's a different Tom Brady. I haven't seen that breed of Tom Brady before. So you're right. It'll get to you.
That damn avocado tequila ice cream will, you know, have you throwing trophies into the water, I guess. But yeah, Bud Cannibalist, thanks for joining us. And this is an awesome mention. I did want to bring this up eventually. I was going to mention it in my final word, but we'll talk about it now. The Bucks social media team does such a good job. Baker Mayfield, they made a video of him holding a DVD of The Lion King in the Lion Stadium. I was like, this is awesome, man. And, you know, kind of a funny thing. Speaking of funny things, no, I'm just kidding. But we are here on the Buccateers live with the great plus of Real Bucks Talk, the great Gene, Buc What Ya Heard, J-Lo, and Mr. Cat's back in the house. And I just want to look around the NFC South quick, fellas. I said it before the year. This division could easily have 2 playoff teams. Everybody was overlooking the division. Everybody was writing this division off. Everybody was pretty much mocking the NFC South, saying it's going to be bad again, blah, blah, blah. Now you stare it. I know it's only been 2 weeks, but a very impressive 2 weeks for the NFC South, especially Dave Canales, and the fact that he knows what the hell, or he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, I should say. I'm going to try and make a joke the other way, but I'm not. I'm going to leave Carolina alone because it's
there's nothing anybody he shouldn't really. I mean, you can't pass up a head coaching job. Although sometimes you should pass up a head coaching job, as that's the best way I could say it. I don't think there's any real answers there. I will say, I got to tell you, I love Dave Canales. I really did, but I'm sure you've discussed this on the program. Liam Cohen's an upgrade. I think he's an upgrade for sure. And that's not just based on 2 weeks, just based on a lot of things I read about him. I think he's more of in tune with modern day offense. So, yeah, I'm happy that Dave got a head coaching job. I'm happy that we have Liam Cohen though too.
You got to consider David Tepper is a psychopath to begin with. So you're at a huge disadvantage. This is like having Culverhouse as your owner. Dave Tepper is horrible, and I just don't see any success. I put him right there with like Jerry Jones post Jimmy Johnson kind of energy, and I
Good
just
God.
do not see any good things coming out of Carolina as long as Tepper owns that team.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be a head coach. I mean, it's but you can't pass up the job. You might never get it again. So hard to pass up. But yeah, the worst place to take a head coaching job is your first.
Look at
Very,
Byron. Look at Byron
Yeah.
Leftwich.
Lord
He
Byron.
passed it
Yeah,
up.
he passed it up, and now where is he? I don't know where he is.
He's
They
nowhere
bring-
because
they
no
the
bring
one.
damn
Nebraska.
We don't need to worry about Byron, but
Yeah.
yeah, Dave's in a tough spot for sure. I think just that whole situation. But I think he's made the right call to move to Andy Dalton, see what that can give you as far as saving the season. If be, obviously he's trying to save his job because they called him the quarterback whisperer, but some quarterbacks just can't be saved. And I think Bryce Young is one of those that just might not have it. And I think for him to realize that, obviously it's not working, see what, the backup can do. Obviously, a guy that has starting experience. But right now, that's a very tough situation. And it would be surprised if, Dave unfortunately gets fired after this year because it's just, yeah, like you guys said, Tepper, just not a very good owner, like just not. And the environment, the culture, just not a good situation overall for anybody there.
Could you believe? Plus, I think you bring up an interesting point because before the year started, even after the week 1 embarrassment they had, I'm like, you know what? They just lost Matt Rule a couple of years ago, middle of the season. They fired him.
Yeah.
Last year, they fired Frank Reich middle of the season. This is now between interim head coaches and full-time head coaches, their 5th coach in their 3rd season. And I was telling my old man, because Pops was like, he might not make it into year 2. And I was like, dude, he pretty much has to. But at this point, I don't really know if he has to, given David Tepper and, given the embarrassment that Tepper has to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold is undefeated. Baker Mayfield's undefeated. Matt Rule's undefeated. Whoever made that sign and trolled the hell out of David Tepper, kudos to you, because they're pretty much crapping on his parade. But now to me, this went from a guy who was guaranteed at least 2 years there to, hey, he might not make it in a year or 2. And then next thing you know, who the hell would want to coach there? I mean, maybe
Nobody wants
They
to.
should have stuck with Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes was
that's
the
right.
answer. Steve
Yeah.
Wilkes was the answer.
Players liked him, they loved him, and they played well under him. And sometimes, like the Raiders were smart enough to keep Antonio Pierce, as you saw how the players responded to him. And the Panthers should have done the same thing with Steve Wilkes, like you mentioned, and they did not, and they're now seeing the consequences of that.
Until that owner sells the team, there's no way they're going to get a good coach over there to fix the problem. Let's all face facts that Dave Canales was the 5th, 6th option.
He's going to undermine all of that.
Right.
And not to mention, though, I don't think I like Dave Canales, I do, and it's hard to tell who the hell's getting who's calling the shots over there, right? Because you hear conflicting reports all the time. Because we're talking a little bit of the NFC South right now, King Cook. We'll be back. I mean, we're in the NFC South. You got to talk about these things. You got to talk about the division. You got to talk about the journey there. Last word on the Panthers, though. It's hard to tell who's making the calls, but one thing is for sure. Bryce Young did not play enough this preseason after a terrible rookie year in the NFL. I think he only had a handful of snaps. And now you're telling me you're going to give him 2 starts and then bench him. And I know it, you're not playing for this year. I get, you should have started Andy Dalton from the start then.
Yeah. Once QB loses confidence, you basically don't have a quarterback. And that's what you're seeing with Bryce Young. Like he's got no confidence out there in his abilities. And I think his abilities from the get-go were not great to begin with. He doesn't have that, tool set like Anthony Richardson, who can just, run around and make plays on his legs if his arm's not, working for him. Bryce Young just doesn't have that. He's not super athletic, doesn't have great size to begin with. Already an uphill battle for him from an NFL quarterback standpoint. Like Kyler Murray, he has speed to run around and make plays, also has a cannon for an arm. Bryce Young doesn't have that. And you put that on top of a first-year head coach, a offense that doesn't have a lot of playmakers, So it's just tough sledding for that franchise overall.
Yeah,
The rich man Sean King. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Sorry to go there. Just felt like making the joke.
You make a great point, Plus. You got to check up from the neck up, and we've seen Bryce Young, and it reminds me a little bit of Jameis Winston, where he tries to play hero ball and put the team on his shoulder, and he just doesn't. He doesn't have it. And I've mentioned being able to read defenses or at least understand what you're looking at in front of you, and I just really do not feel like Bryce Young has that. I don't think he's been coached up where he should be in the NFL. And when he's seeing some of these exotic blitzes, some of these a little bit more, difficult defenses than what he's used to, it puts him on the struggle bus. There was one play where he rolled out of the pocket and, he figured, I got to roll out of the pocket. He get out of the pocket. He doesn't know what to do. So, again, you got to check up from the neck up. For me, just watching him, I feel bad for him. I think he's got the physical tools to do something, but mentally, I think the meat fell off the sandwich, man. And that's just, you just kind of stuck with what's left.
Yeah, and real quick before we're going to get to our next question here as we wrap up the South, we're going to pick Falcons or Saints, who we think the bigger overall threat is the rest of the year. But the way the Panthers built their roster is embarrassing. They overpaid the hell out of 2 guards. You never do that. These are mediocre guards that they gave top guard money. That's not the way to build winning football. No offense. If you're going to pay anyone or overpay anyone, make it some tackles at least. Make it some guys that could go out there and really protect Bryce Young. Secondly, what is this, 2015? You're building a wide receiver core with Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen. It's like, gee, my Lord, you're giving this guy helter-skelter's worth of weapons out there, and then your running backs room. I think Plus Cats, Gene, and J-Lo would make up a better running back room than what the Panthers currently have right now. So whatever the hell they're doing, they need to reevaluate themselves. They traded DJ Moore for a bag of chips. They traded McCaffrey for a bag of chips. They traded Burns for a bag of chips. So I'm done talking about those losers.
And pass on CJ Stroud, too. Thank God they didn't get him.
Hey, we could hear you, J-Lo. There you are. We had a comment that they could barely hear you. So take that, Bud Cannibals. No, I'm kidding, buddy. J-Lo, yeah, for real, though, your first comment, we couldn't hear you well. Now we really could. But speaking of here, we're going to just do a round table. We're going to start with Cats, go to Plus, go to J-Lo, Gene, and I'll end it. Oh, my God. Here's this acknowledge me crap from JCL. And again, we're
stupid. AJC.
Acknowledgement.
We're back to this. But we're going to start with Cats. Cats, if you had to choose Saints, Falcons, Saints, Falcons, Saints, Falcons, who do you think out of those two are the real true threat to the NFC South crown against the Buccaneers?
Saints.
And you think by a lot, or you think it's going to be close 3-way race?
I think by I think they're significantly better. I'm not a big Derek Carr fan, but they've got some guys. Rashid Shaheed has turned into a player for them. What I didn't realize, and it was brought to my attention, the offense obviously now is going to be 40 points per game. Good, of course not. It's not. It's not. We're not talking about the 99 Rams here, but they did bring in Clint Kubiak to be the offensive coordinator. He comes from great bloodlines. Gary Kubiak was a successful offensive coordinator for some phenomenal teams. He even was, I believe, the head coach when the Broncos won their last Super Bowl. He comes from the Mike Shanahan coaching tree. So I think offensively now, obviously I don't know where Michael Thomas is anymore. No, he's not there. They have the right play caller. I don't care much for Dennis Allen. I don't think their defense is as talented as it was in prior iterations, but there's still talent there. So I would go with the Saints as the tougher. Between the two quarterbacks, not a really huge believer in either Carr or Cousins, but I give the Saints the edge.
Bud says, wasn't me. Bud, I was trying to give you kudos for telling J-Lo to turn up his mic, but I think it might have been Richard then, But either way, thank you, whether it was Bud or Richard, whoever the hell it was. We appreciate the comment. Cats, I agree with you, though. Before the year started, When we made our season predictions, I had the Saints coming in second in the South. I just feel like Dennis Allen's time is now or never. If Dennis Allen doesn't win this year, he's probably going to get fired. So he's feeling the heat. And personally, I was not a fan of all the Falcons moves they made. I love Raheem. I think Raheem's a coordinator. I do not think he's a head coach. And drafting Penix instead of either just draft Penix or sign Cousins. Don't do both to me. And then you could have used the Cousins money on different personnel or the first round pick on different personnel. So Kat says Saints. I say Saints. Plus, what say you? Falcons, Saints. Who's a bigger competition to the Bucs?
I think right now, the choice is the Saints. I mean, just looking at what they've done so far, obviously being able to run the football, Alvin Kamara is healthy, and they're just utilizing him right now and benefiting with 50% play action rate, where Derek Carr is just utilizing that to their advantage and hitting some big plays down the field, getting ahead of these teams early and often, which allows you to use more play action. So that's why they're being able to put up points like they have been. And yeah, they have some playmakers, obviously, with Olave and Rashid as well. But yeah, Saints overall, I think defensively, they've always been a pretty solid group, especially in that secondary. I think up front, they're not as strong as they used to be. And then the Falcons, I don't think they have a quarterback. I think Kirk Cousins is hurt still, and I think that's why they drafted Michael Penix because of this Achilles injury. And you can just see it with his play inside the pocket. He's just not 100% healthy. He's not getting the same velocity behind his throws when he's dropping back or trying to step through and finish. It's just there's nothing there. You see a lot of his balls are diving into the dirt or diving into the ground. So I think Atlanta's got an issue there, and I think they're going to be a team that maybe gets better throughout the year. But the Saints right now, I think, would be our biggest competition. But Bucks, I think, should win this division, and I expect them to do so.
And I couldn't agree more. And by the way, fuck the Eagles for pulling.
Oh, fuck them. When you want them to win, they lose. And I'm sure they won't beat the Saints either, and they're not beating us. But yeah, I know. What was there? Like, what did it take the Falcons? 20 seconds to go down and score after Barkley, he dropped the pass. They probably should have just it wouldn't have mattered how much time was left. The Falcons scored in 2 seconds. They left the Eagles enough time. Really, normally it's how it should. You left them too much time because they let you score in 20 seconds.
Yeah,
but that was just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, talk about a team that couldn't make in-game adjustments. Like every time they blitzed Kirk Cousins, they had a successful play, but decide not to blitz him at all on the last drive there, which made no sense. From a defensive standpoint, all you had to do is blitz this guy and get pressure in his face, and he's not good.
He's never been good. I remember he's never been good. He can move pretty well, but I've always noticed he can't really. He doesn't do well if you can get in his face. And I don't know how particular. I know they have Matthews. I forgot the O line they have. I know they have a fairly stout O line. I don't know if it's great. I really don't know enough about them, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like, man, I mean, all you got to do is just keep him. Keep them out of the end zone, whatever it was, and look what we did. Look how many times the Lions were on our side of the field, and we were able to stiffen up, and the Eagles, meanwhile, just said, go ahead, just walk down and score. What the heck? Go ahead.
Yeah, and couple comments in the chat. Bud says Sirianni is trash. Yeah, I'm starting to get, last year was his downfall for me now. This year, not a great start. But J-Lo. So now we have 2.5 Saints. We'll give plus half the Saints and half the Falcons. Me and Kat say Saints. Sounds like you got some weed whacker going on there in the background or something. But J-Lo, while you're doing the weeds, what say you on Falcons or Saints?
Nah, I say the Saints are probably the tough team right now in our division. Atlanta, to me, overrated. Philadelphia, their defense just laid down and gave the game up. There's no business for Atlanta to drive the ball that quickly down the field. So that goes to show that Philly's no longer a threat anymore. And Atlanta, they can kick.
We ruined the Eagles. We ruined the Eagles, and we killed.
No, we didn't ruin the Eagles. We broke the Eagles. What we did, we broke them in half.
Isn't it? It's the same fucking shit. Ruin, break. It's like, oh, I broke.
We've always done it to the Eagles. We've always done it. I know. Before I was born in '79, we beat them in the playoffs. I know. They beat us in 2 playoff games. So what? Who cares? We've beaten them. I think 4-2. I can't remember. We beat them in so many times. I think 3-2. It's 4-2 in the playoffs against the Eagles. We've beaten them 4 times. I think one of them didn't. They was like, oh, well, it was Hurts. It was Brady's second to last year. It was Hurts was a rookie. No big deal. They're on the upswing. Well, last year, different story. They're the favorites, and we saw what happened. Yeah, Sirianni's just a dumb meathead. Big mouth. Big fucking mouth.
Fired. I think he's gone after this year. He has no control of the team. The culture's terrible. And overall, I just don't have any confidence in Jalen Hurts. I just don't think he's that good. I don't think he's top 10 in my book, like Pless mentioned, and I think yesterday.
Well, he's top 10 in fantasy, but we know fantasy's not real life. So,
well, Mike McCarthy might be able to outcoach him in reverse, so he might save his job. Mike McCarthy will save Nick Sirianni's job potentially. We know how great a coach he is.
Maybe McCarthy. Well, I'll save my McCarthy comments for later. But Gene, Saints Falcons. So far, we got a good amount of Saints, and then one, a half of Falcon. What say you? Saints or Falcons? Bigger threat to the Bucs?
I think the Saints are. The Saints get up for the Bucs every year, and this is just one of those years that I think that they're. I call the first 3 weeks of the NFL overreaction weeks. Where you can overreact one way or the other, and I think, and until we can get to Game 6, you get a clear picture of what you have on your team or how your team's going to play throughout the rest of the season. And I think you kind of have to take a step back and just kind of look at everything. What we've seen from the Saints going in and beating Dallas. When you look at what Dallas did in the offseason and you look at the talent that Dallas has, this is not really a surprise that they got waxed the way they did. I mean, the Saints just came into play. There are just certain teams that the Saints get up for, and they go in and do their thing. As for the Falcons should have won that game. Saquon Barkley. I mean, you can take Saquon out the Giants, but you can't take the Giants out of Saquon. And that's pretty much what we've seen from that guy is just that. And for Devin White,
congratulations, you played yourself.
Just so you know, you played yourself, you jerk. And you know what? Healthy scratch, you'll be scratching your ass the rest of the season. I hope so. I was so happy he unfollowed the Bucs. That was the best thing that could have happened to Tampa was that he unfollowed us. So there's that. And as for Michael Thomas, I think he's running slants in the Walmart parking lot right now. Looking for him.
He's playing flag football with the juvenile youth over there.
I knew he was somewhere. I knew it wasn't New Orleans. That's all I knew. There we go.
Hey, but speaking of New Orleans, what else is better? Kyle Trask is better than their backup quarterback, Spencer Rattler. I'm confident in that. Maybe not. But we had a weird to me. Who the hell I don't know who's trying to blow smoke and mirrors and put rumors out there, but there's a lot of things wrong with this rumor for so many reasons, and we're all going to make fun of it, I'm sure, and take turns at it. But there's so much media out there, not even sure who the hell put this out there, but allegedly, and somebody commented, I think the great Jonas commented, thanks for putting it in the chat, Jonas, but some, Looney Tune out there put up, I don't know what the hell's going on, a Kyle Trask to Carolina rumor, which makes no sense in the world for every reason under the sun. I'm just going to debunk this. Give me a minute. Then we're going to do a quick roundtable and all laugh at this, I'm sure. But couple things. A, the Bucs are never going to trade a quarterback within the division. I don't care if it's Jameis Winston. I don't care if it's Kyle Trask. I don't care if it's, Michael Pratt or new third string QB. The Bucs are not going to trade a quarterback within the division. That's first and foremost. Number two, the Bucs have a good thing going right now on their roster. A cheap backup quarterback who's under contract, who can maybe win you 2 to 3 football games in a season if you need it in Kyle Trask. Why the hell would they go with the 7th round rookie who didn't even spend preseason in Tampa We nabbed him off Green Bay's practice squad, put him on ours, Michael Pratt. That's great. But the Bucs are not going to use that as their backup. And I know people might say, well, John Wolford's still out there. The Bucs cut Wolford for a reason. Okay, so enough of that. And number 3, Carolina, what good? Try and think of one benefit. Oh, yeah, our QB room is Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, Kyle Trask. Like, what? What the hell? How does that make sense? I think I've seen somebody, again, whoever brought up this Trask, Carolina, Tampa, foolery.
It's probably the same person that said Mike Evans was going to the Jets in the offseason.
Yeah, it could be very true. But Gene, any more lab? I mean, this is stupid. And
you know what? You can't put a lot of stock in that. I mean, Carolina is Carolina. I think they're going to win some games they're not expected to win. I think that Dave Canales is good with quarterbacks. I will give him that. I think he'll make a good coordinator. I just think that, watching him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with the weapons that he had, and he really could have done a whole lot more than he did. Plus, maybe you'll agree with me, or I don't know, or not. Situational football was just not quite there for him as an offensive coordinator. And now you have the whole team that you have to be looking over. I don't know. It's just a weird situation for me. And just considering who the ownership is, I can't see anything positive out of that. I think if you wanted to punish somebody, you send them to Carolina.
Yeah, and I'm not ready to do that to Trask.
Yeah.
But again, the end of the day, it's like so much wrong with that. Another thing would be who the hell. Well, the problem is Reddick's on the Jets now, so that's problem number 1 with that trade scenario down there. So, but other than that, Reddick being on the Jets, not the Eagles, Kyle Trask, you can't even value him. Like, what are you gonna get for him? What are you gonna give for him? And again, just so much foolery with that. Plus, put this rumor to bed.
Yeah, Kyle Trask is the Bucs' backup quarterback, and they're not going to trade a viable backup option, especially if Baker goes down for whatever reason. Like you got to have someone to go to, and like you said, Kyle is more than capable of running the offense and getting you wins, especially with the defensive performance I just saw this past Sunday. Kyle can easily manage the game and find ways to put your team in a position to win games. They're not going to trade him, like you said, to a division opponent like Carolina. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle signs another contract with the team next offseason to stay the backup quarterback. It makes no sense for the Buccaneers to trade away, especially a guy that they put so much time in, now, and he's starting to show progress. He continues to get better each year. Already has familiarity with the offense and has a good rep, with Liam Cohen. So no reason to move Kyle Trask at all.
And before we get Katz's take on it, I want to say Trask back to Tampa. I think that's interesting. Plus, because you've seen the Bucs do this before with backup quarterbacks. Ryan Griffin was around forever. We kept bringing back Fitzpatrick for a handful of years. Now the same with Trask. Every offseason you hear people, we should trade. We keep Trask around. And maybe for Trask, it's the most ideal thing too, because sometimes as a backup, the best thing is the unknown. And sometimes it's better collecting a paycheck, sitting behind a starter, and then yes, if Baker goes down or something happens, but at the end of the day, the last thing Trask might want to do is go somewhere else, maybe compete for the starting job, look terrible, not feel comfortable in a new atmosphere. The next thing you know, in 2 to 3 years, he's out of football, when maybe he could be the Bucs backup forever and ever, like a Blaine Gabbert or Ryan Griffin. I mean, it could be one of those things, and maybe it's a fun thing for Trask could make. I don't know. Maybe we'll give him 2-3 years, $1 million a year, $2 million a year, something cheap, something affordable. But at the end of the day, something that could keep Trask going too. Katz, what say you? I think this is pretty funny stuff, though. The Trask to Carolina talk. I really do.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, you're not going to just say let's trade him so we can get a draft pick because again, you can't value him because he's never been a starter, and he's a competent. From what I see, in my opinion, from what I can tell, he's a competent backup. He knows the system. He's been here. There's no reason to do it. You're not gaining anything from it. You're not getting. It's not like they're sending you a premium draft pick for him. So I don't see any purpose in doing it.
I
It seems
mean,
like a bizarre rumor. I don't know who would come up with that.
yeah, and just say, gosh forbid, what if he goes over there and next thing you know, he turns into the next Tom Brady or Michael Jordan or Sammy Sosa, just a baller, a certified stud. So, J-Lo, quick thoughts on it.
No, he's not going anywhere. He's our backup. And God forbid Baker goes down. I think he'd be ready to step in, help us win a couple games maybe. But if Baker goes down, period, season's over. That's all I can really say when it comes to Trask.
And if Baker goes down for a couple games, I think we could survive. It's hard. If any starting QB in the league, the Eagles, the 1 year were an anomaly when Nick Foles took over and won. But you could pretty much say if any QB goes out for the year around the league, damn near that they're pretty much toast. So speaking of toast,
look at Miami right now.
yeah. Plus, Miami. That's a great point. What the hell are they doing with Skylar Thompson as their backup still? I mean, it's like we saw him a couple times. I know he's played in a playoff game, and that was ugly as all sin. So, speaking of sin, Olivia, hey, what a squad! How the hell you doing, Olivia? Great for joining us. We love our lady listeners, that's for sure. Trask will be our Don. I'm not talking about Bucky. Okay, so we are going to get to the running game here now on the Buccateers, Buc What You Heard live collaboration podcast and a Taco Tuesday with the great Dr. Plus from Real Bucks Talk and the return of the great A-Cats. I do want to get around and I do want to ask, is our run game in trouble? And when you look at the Bucks running backs and you look at the stats, so far it looks as followed through 2 games. Bucky Irvin, 16 carries for 84 yards. That's 5.3 yards per rip. That's pretty damn good. And a touchdown. Baker Mayfield, 8 carries, 55 yards. Rashad White, 25. I'm sorry, Bucky didn't have the touchdown. Baker did. I misspoke there for you listening. Rashad White, 25 carries, 49 yards. And then it's a bunch of, little stuff. Trask had a couple kneels. K. Dotton, him saving the sack last week was technically a carry where Baker was scrambling around and tossed it backwards to him. So we're going to reverse roundtable this time. Gene, we'll start with you. Are the Bucks in trouble in the running back room?
No, this is the long season. I do expect them to establish the run, to do more with the run. Liam Cohen hasn't even begun to jump into his bag of tricks as far as I'm concerned. I really believe that we'll get to see all 3 of these running backs, whether it's Tucker, whether it's Rashad White or Bucky Irving. I think eventually you will see, one of the 3 at some point this season. I think it just depends on the situation. And I really believe that once they can get this offense established, you'll see more of the run. And I believe just the way that they're scheming things up right now, I'm super excited for it. And I believe that you will see more runs as the season progresses.
And yeah, I think Huncho in the house, our great co-host Huncho, he'll be joining the pod again soon. We miss you, Hunch. We hope all is well with you, brother. But he brings up a great point, and so does Gene. First of all, it's early. Second of all, the Lions run D. If you look at the Rams week 1, and they have Kyron Williams, a Pro Bowl running back, they pretty much eliminated running the ball themselves and just tried to focus on throwing against Detroit or trying to do other things against Detroit because Detroit took away Kyron Williams. So I think Liam Cohen, being from that McVay tree, took away a little bit of that as well and said, hey, not a bad copy and paste metric. The Rams should have won the game in Detroit. Bucks ended up finishing the job and won the game in Detroit. So I think that's how it's going. I think teams are playing keep away from the running back in Detroit. Jayla, what say you on the Bucks run game? Are you concerned, my friend? Gene is not, and we haven't gotten to anyone else yet.
Not at all. We went up against a really good run defense with the Lions. I think you'll see more of an improvement on Sunday against Denver because Denver's run defense is not very good. So we should see a great running game out of Rashad White and Bucky Irving on Sunday.
I agree with you, Mr. Plus. Are you going to make it 3-0 here? Well, I know what you're going to, but maybe those that don't know you or listen to the show or your show might not. So,
Yeah, as far as the question, I'm not concerned about the run game. I think it's too early to tell. I think you have to trust the process that we've seen so far. The details are going to get better. Just watching this tape from Sunday, there's a lot of things that can be cleaned up, especially in the passing game. The receiver spacing and just attention to detail there is something that should improve. That's going to help not only the passing game, but also your run game moving forward. Detroit does a great job of shutting down the run. They try to make you one-dimensional, very much like Todd Bowles' defense in that way. And like J-Lo said, the run game should improve this week against Denver. Denver struggles to stop the run. It's something that the Buccaneers should have some success with. So yeah, I'm not worried about it yet. I think they have a capable group, and it should improve, especially as Liam gets a good understanding of what he has here, and that should, yeah. So I'm not worried. It should go up from here.
yeah, I totally agree with you as well. And before we get to Cats, we got Huncho saying, miss y'all gang. We miss you. Christopher, he has a Carolina scoop. He says Carolina radio. Well, you got the Panthers trash, and let's see, I guess their radio station is making up false things now as well. It'll help get Luke back. Epic Crew. White also hurt, meaning Rashad White. Cleveland me in the house, Joey from
I
Cleveland.
don't think the injury is from based on what
It's
I've
not.
seen and read. I haven't heard that the groin injury is that serious. I think it was just something that they're taking
No.
they're just
Yeah.
being careful with right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
he should be fine.
Rashad was fine last week in terms if he really had a play more, he really would have. I don't think it's really a concern, but he was technically banged up last week, so to speak. But Cats, what say you on the Bucks run game? And I know one thing, Cats, your buddy Daryl Johnston has continued to hate it on us, continued to hate it on our run game. And tell the I tried to explain this to Olivia because me, Olivia, and my pop. Yeah, newsflash to the average listener: Olivia and I are dating. So Olivia was over, and Olivia, myself, and my pops were watching the game. And I told them, guys, watch out for Moose Johnson. He is a son of a bitch. He hates the Bucks. He really does. Jealousy.
Yeah.
Cats, you're the one that pointed that out to me a while back. And it held true week 1. And we had him week 2, and it held true week 2. And Cats, I think that's why this narrative is being pushed as well. People like Moose Johnson, who hate the Bucks, are trying to get the wheels spinning on things like this.
Right, he's jealous of Allstott because Allstott was better than him, and he was a lot more likable and he was better looking. So yeah, Moose Johnson has always been jealous of that, and that's why he doesn't like the Bucks. I'll stick with that theory. As far as the running game, I'm not concerned either. The only thing I'll say, and I think Rashad White has a place in this offense. He's an outstanding pass catcher. He makes guys miss in the open field, but I do think that as the season goes on, I think Bucky Irving will be getting more of the lion's share of the carries. That I do believe. I could be wrong, but I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. I think they're going to get a good workload split, and I think Rashad will really excel as a pass catching back and still have nice runs. But ultimately, the Bucks drafted Bucky Irving for a reason, and I think he will get maybe not the lion's share of carries, but I think we do see him creep up to 8 to 10 carries a game down the road at some point and really, really try and attack. So good points there, Cats. I'm going to start calling you Moose Johnson. No, I'm kidding. But Cats, great stuff.
We got Matt Millen. We have Tim Brando on play-by-play this week, and Matt Millen is doing color, so we'll see how that goes.
Hey, I'm actually a Brando guy. I know he's usually a college football guy, so I'm thrilled to have Tim. You have Brando. Let's go, baby. It's a Brando day. Woo!
What happens is, they're on Fox, and when Fox is, even though it is an AFC team here, they've changed the rules a little bit on that. And they have a 7th game. They go to a guy. I guess Tim Brando is the de facto backup when they have more than 6 games. I don't know how deep they go into who else is there. So I looked today. I'm like, I wonder who's going to call this. And yeah, it is indeed Tim Brando, and originally, former player, then longtime partner of Dick Stockton, and then most notably and most hilariously, Lions general manager Matt Millen will be on color. So we'll see how they do as a crew.
Yeah, I mean, Millen aside, I'm like Ron Burgundy and Anchorman right now. Just hearing Tim Brando is doing our game. Don't act like you're not impressed. You know what I'm saying? I'm amped. It's a Brando day, baby. I'm so fucking thrilled. Everyone's like, this kid's interesting. But nonetheless, Tim Brando, I love this guy. One of the best, in my opinion. And usually the poor guy is doing like New Mexico State on a Friday night. So this is a bit of an upgrade for the guy. Let's give it to Tim Brando. Him and Chris Myers, though, hard for me to find better, play-by-play guys than Myers and Brando. But it's a Brando day, man. I'm so excited. Get me to Sunday. Let's fucking go. Speaking of Sunday, I won't confess my Brando fandom any more than we need to, but Bake will be baking again this Sunday, guys. It's so good to see, though, nobody really thinks the run game is a concern. Speaking of concern, don't be concerned. The Buccateers' upcoming schedule. We usually have Gene on Thursdays, 7 Eastern, coming to you live with the Buc What You Heard takeover on Thursdays. And every Saturday, join us 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for our Saturday Showdown football kickoff weekend show. It's been incredible. Although our bets haven't been hitting lately, we'll be back. We'll be back with our breadwinners. That's for damn sure. But yes, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays are kind of the main structure. And then we're going to have other days as well. Like when Bucks play on Mondays, we're going to do pregame shows and all of that fun stuff. Speaking of fun stuff, though, fellas, we got my stalker coming to town. We got a guy who stalks me coming to Tampa this weekend, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. Your lips.
Exactly. And let me explain why he stalks me. I don't care he's older than me. I really don't give a fuck. He grew up in my hometown. That's problem number one.
Yeah.
That's problem number one. He graduated from my college.
Yeah.
So what the hell is this sick son of a bitch doing? Growing up in my hometown. No, Jonas, not you. I said stalker, not Steckler. We're good here, brother. We're good. So I'll still get you that beer in Kansas City, like I said before the game, because I'm not paying stadium prices. But I'll still get you that beer in Kansas City. We're cool. But guys, Sean Payton is coming to town this weekend. This sick son of a bitch pisses me off every time I see him. And Bud, I couldn't agree more. This guy's face more punchable than mine after I run on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Let's not get it twisted. But at the end of the day, this douchebag, I've heard college rumors about him. I've heard hometown rumors about him. And I'm just going to put this out there. He is as advertised. He is not a different person behind the scenes. He's just as unlikable. He's just as punchable. And these are rumors, so I'm not going to go all in on this, but if I shared some of the stories I heard from his fraternity in college, this guy is a very, very mean sick ticket. But Gene, we'll start with you here. Sean Payton's coming to town. Dirk Cutter did it best. The only good thing Dirk Cutter ever did here, kind of smacked him around a little bit back in the day. But thoughts on the douchebag visiting, Gene?
I think once Drew Brees retired, that was it for Sean Payton. Again, he's been brought back down to earth. I believe that if Russell Wilson has a good season with Pittsburgh under Tomlin, that'll definitely put a little bit more of a magnifying glass on coaching and the importance of coaching. I personally don't think he's a good coach. I mean, what he did with Drew Brees, that was a good marriage right there, where you had a Hall of Fame quarterback, which, by the way, they wasted so many years, so many good years of Drew Brees' career, not winning and not succeeding and being happy going to winning the NFC South. And the Saints deserve to be where they're at, and they're on the outside looking in. But just kind of getting back to Sean Payton, when they tried to run out the score and Michael Thomas got hurt, instead of, running the ball, being conservative, doing what they needed to do, You lose a good wide receiver that's good at running slants and stuff. You don't have him at your disposal anymore, and he hasn't been the same since that injury when the Saints tried to run up the score on the Bucs. And again, it's a reflection on the coach. And and not to make a long story short, I think he's being exposed right now for the coach he really is, and I just don't see good positive things coming out of Denver until they kind of move on from him.
I couldn't agree more. And Narav said his frat brother's definitely pissed in his cereal. Well, something you mentioned there was involved with his college rumors, but I'll leave it at that. But Gene, I think you make a great point. The Saints, they put themselves in this spot, and Sean Payton did as well. I mean, remember last year he was acting like the Tiger Woods of the coaching world. He was going on what they called head coaching visit tours. He had his Arizona tours. He had his Denver tours. And, then he was all excited about being paired with Russell Wilson. Then, honestly, I thought Wilson was having an okay season. Then he benches Russell Wilson and free falls just to draft Bo Nix, who's really not looking too good. So
very mid.
J-Lo, what say you? We're not talking about the green sticky stuff mid. We're talking about Sean Payton. What say you, J-Lo?
Sean Payton's always been a thorn. I never really liked him. He does have a punchable face. Him and Breeze were a perfect marriage, but like Gene said, they wasted so many years and only got one Super Bowl out of it.
And I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to make his life a living hell again when he comes back down here to Tampa on Sunday. He's totally lost. Bo Nix, he can't coach him. He'll probably end up getting fired at the end of the year because Denver's very an impatient city, and they're not going to wait for him for a long time to start winning.
I couldn't agree more. And, I mean, maybe he will be gone at the end of the year, but that would be a hell of a payday for Denver. Hackett, then him. Some good comments here. Do we worry? No, I'm not worried about Mike. Come on.
Not at all. No, Mike will get his touches. He will.
We're not. I appreciate the comment, but we're not even gonna entertain that. South of the border, the replacements. That's a hilarious quote right there. Plus, do you agree with all of us about what are your thoughts on Sean Payton coming to town? I think Killa makes a good point. I want to give him the sweat off my sack if he was dying of thirst and that's all he had.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton, I think, is just a little bit past his window. I think he's a good offensive mind, but when you look at the team and the team construction overall for Denver, it's been a little bit up and down. I don't think he's really good at as far as building the team, and I think he's trying to put his imprint on that, especially in Denver. But yeah, some of the decision making has been very questionable. I think they do have some defensive talent on that side of the ball with Pat Surtain and some other guys there, but offensively, it's going to be tough sledding for them. They don't have a strong offensive line, and then Bo Nix as a rookie can't really complete a ball past 10 yards, so that's going to be troublesome, especially going up against this defense and Todd Bowles, who probably will send the house. I would expect them to blitz a lot, really force the issue and get after it. So, yeah, I mean, Sean Payton overall, I don't really have an opinion of him. I don't really care about him. I think he's irrelevant. Had his moment with the Saints, but that's about it. And it was just 15 minutes of fame. And I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Kevin James is a better head coach than Sean Payton. After that movie was made, I am solely convinced. That's hilarious too. Kevin James playing Sean Payton.
I mean, whenever you run a reverse when you're up, in a game with like less than, I don't know how many minutes it was, and then you end up losing said game, you're not very good as a football coach.
Oh, I remember that game. Yep, I remember that game. Luke McCown started that game. Yep, I remember that one. Yeah.
Kat's thoughts on Sean Payton, and I will say this: to me, the Broncos. I know QBs were flying off the board, but I don't think Bo Nix was a first-round pick. I'll say that quick. And secondly, Jonas says, "Don't forget Bountygate." That Redskins employee that went on that fake date with the reporter that, got caught leaking all that stuff. He allegedly says Bountygate was a cover up for the drug problem that was quote unquote being had in the Saints locker room. So that bombshell just got released. Yes, I guess the Saints were allegedly, again, this is all alleged, but the former Commandos football team, Redskins employee, whatever the hell you want to call him, got caught on a hot mic saying that the Saints were actually covering up their drug problem with Bounty or the NFL.
Sounds like the Greg Schiano hire for the Bucs.
Cats, I think that's a perfect lead off to you, my friend.
Yeah, Sean Payton is a prick. I mean, that has never changed. And yeah, even taking 1 year off, you lose a lot of you get away from the game for 1 year, I think it was, and he made it sound like he was never coming back. I knew he was going to come back. It was very convenient. Breeze left, and Jameis wasn't really working out, and that was it. And I think he wanted the Dallas job, to be honest with you. He didn't get it. That's, I think, the job he wanted. He didn't get it. He took the Denver job, and he didn't like Russell Wilson, who's not what he used to be. He wants his own guy. So now he's got his own guy. I don't know a lot about Bo Nix, but it looks like he was overdrafted. But hey, he considers himself a quarterback whisperer, a QB guru. He's got a chance to prove it. I don't think he is. I don't think it's going to work. But yeah, he's a prick, and yes, one of the most punchable faces I've ever laid eyes on.
Sucker punch for a punchable face. That's a lot that what I hear with Sean Payton. But he does return. So does Denver. 1 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. It's a Brando day. Tim Brando on the call. Yeah, I'm not, man, I am on cloud 9 right now. I can't wait to celebrate after the pod and do a million illegal things now that I found out that Tim Brando's on here.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jayla, what the hell was that, Jay? You're hating on. Hey, I'll keep my hands where you can see them at least. I'll say that.
No, you're good, Tones.
I'm actually going to enjoy watching this one on TV because I gave my ticket away so Mark could bring his daughter to the game. So I'm actually looking forward to it, watching it on television.
Plus is making, you don't even have to have
those sacrifices.
Yeah, you don't even have to have a baby mama in your life, and Plus is making Bucs fans grow out here by the tens of thousands by getting them in the seats. So
and probably staying cool in the AC too, man. It's gonna be hot that day.
And not need to waste millions on a girlfriend. Olivia, I'm kidding. Don't worry about it. But other than that, guys, before I get into hot trouble now, we'll keep it mowing here. Woo for Mark. That's going to be awesome. Mark's going to bring us a victory. And Plus is playing chess out here. He's going to road games, giving his tickets to the youth out here. So really incredible stuff. That is awesome. Speaking of incredible stuff, the great Neil's in the house. He's always saying hit that like button, turn the notification bell on, and subscribe, whether you're listening on Buc What You Heard, Buccateers, or I'm not even sure if Plus is cross-platform too, but whoever the hell's YouTube you're on, feel free, hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and so much more. Before we get to our final words and then hop out of here, I just want to get to one other little thing quick. Random, quick little question. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid. Just the first team that comes to your mind, go ahead and say it. I'm going to ask everyone a different question too, so don't try and cheat and prepare ahead of time because you will get a different question. Cats, we're going to start with you. Most impressive team in the NFL this far is?
Wow. Oh, my gosh. You got to let me think for a second here. Oh heck, I'm impressed. I want to say the Bucs because I really do, but can I say the Bucs?
You can say the Bucs.
I want to, but I got to give the credit to a team that I think many people expected to be lousy, and I'm impressed based on that with Minnesota. I thought they were going to be really bad, and so far, beating the 49ers is, even without McCaffrey, is no easy feat. So I'll give it to Minnesota.
Yeah, they've had a really good 2 weeks, and I know they played Giants week 1, but it was on the road, not an easy place to play week 1, and then they got the 49ers at home. So 2 very good wins. I'm impressed with your most impressive team so far. I'll put it like that. Plus, we're going to go to you. coach who's most likely to get fired during this season is.
Oh man. Well, the easy answer would be Dave Canales.
Well, if we just Caroline, we'll pretend like Canales has a, it has a non-negotiable clause.
Man, that's a good one.
I wish I got in this question.
Yeah.
So I'm going McCarthy all day.
Yeah, I mean the Cowboys head coach, I think definitely in trouble. I think a sneaky one, not that they would do it, but John Harbaugh from Ravens. I mean,
they'll give him at least 4 seasons minimum.
If Ravens just went like 1-14 or something
just
like that.
They've been a team that, has had a lot of, exits in the playoffs. They just can't seem to get over, the hump. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one. I don't know. Who I would pick.
These ain't meant to be easy. They're fun though. J-Lo, biggest injury of the season so far has been.
Ooh, tough one. I have to say Hollywood Brown, man. I thought he was going to
really
in Kansas City. Yeah,
hey, that's fair.
Just want to throw it out there. I thought he was going to be a big target for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Doug Peterson.
But now he's out for a while now. So I say Hollywood Brown.
As we got the great Emily in the house saying, jumping in late here, been busy. Let's kick some damn ass. Emily, you could jump in whenever you want, my friend. You're more than welcome in the comments after hours, before hours, whatever the hell.
Emily's on the bench. Don't be helping her.
Never mind. I guess you're bench, Emily. I tried to say you could be on my starting lineup any day of the week.
She's on the bench. She's on your bench too.
All right. Yay. You heard it from Gene. So
the final boss.
Speaking of bench, Gene, the next starting quarterback to get benched in the NFL will be
Kurt, not my cousins.
Oh, wow. You think so?
I think Michael Penis will be in there pretty soon. I'd say by the mid or towards the back end of the season. I just like what I've seen from Kurt, not my cousins. He's Kurt, not my cousins. Just basically the same thing. I really believe that at some point he's going to go back to his old ways, and fans are going to be clamoring for Penix to come out there, and that's kind of where we'll be. But I really believe that he's the big name that you're going to eventually see the rookie come in for.
I love that answer for the most devastating injury. Mr. Everything Bucks puts Bryce.
And I'll go with the chat. I'll say Sirianni for the head coach question.
Hey,
that's a good answer.
There we go. So we have Cat's the most impressive team so far. He said Vikings plus Sirianni to coach most likely to get fired mid-season. J-Lo, what did I ask J-Lo again? Damn it.
What injury was most?
Yeah, what injury? Hollywood Brown. That was a good unique answer. Yeah, Vita, for real though, poor Vita. He's always getting banged up. And then Gene with Micro Penis Jr. I'm sorry, Michael Penix or Mega Penis, Micro Penis, whatever the hell that is there. But it's been enjoyable, man. We're almost at 5 hours live now. No, I'm kidding. We're almost at an hour and a half though, and I could go all night with Cats, with Pless, with Gene, and with J-Lo. But sadly, I don't have the pay. Oh wait, hold on. Bluetooth speed. Oh, we did get the payments in. All right, we could go 2 more hours, guys. I can pay you guys overtime. So no, just kidding. It
isn't hit my account yet.
I think I got the wrong Venmo. Speaking of, I'd say Tua injury. That's not a bad choice, but sadly, Tua Godecki we got biggest injury led to 5 sacks. Could be true. Speaking of lead Tua, though, we're gonna lead to our final word of the night on the program, starting with Mr. Gene. Gene, final word, final thoughts for the Buccateers. Buc What Ya Heard Taco Tuesday extravaganza.
All right. Well, again, folks, you got this week, I would say next week, just to kind of get an idea of what this team's going to look like. Because we don't have that extra preseason game, this is where we're seeing the teams kind of get together. I think Liam Cohen is pointed in the right direction. And I think your favorite player, just kind of take a deep breath and take a step back. You will eventually see your favorite player on the field. This is going to be a long season, and I really believe that's what we're going to see. So just, take a deep breath. It's going to be a fun season. I think by game 6, you'll have a really clear picture of what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to look like. I think the next big test coming up will be the Atlanta Falcons, and this will kind of give you a sample size of what to expect. But I think Tampa is in a really good place. I think mentally and culturally, and just with everybody stepping up and doing their job, I think this is going to be a fun team to watch, and enjoy being a Bucs fan. This is no other time like right now, and you just enjoy it right now.
Yeah, Gene, that's some good stuff there. And yeah, that's when the schedule gets interesting, right? You have Eagles, you have Falcons on the road, Saints on the road. Then you get a couple of juggernauts like Baltimore, Kansas City, San Fran on the schedule shortly after as well. So, everybody's going to be needed at some point. That's for damn sure. J-Lo, final word for the program, sir. Thoughts from you and your weed whacker, my friend.
First and foremost, Dr. Pless, thank you for joining the show. Always enjoy, you talking fats, man, putting it out there. Always appreciate your support. And hey, 2-0, man. You can't be any happier than that, man. And we got a good shot to maybe go into that tough schedule in the middle, maybe with 2 losses, I'm thinking. And I'm all for it. So
Let's go. Man. Go Bucs, fire the damn cannons. Go Bucs, fire the damn cannons. Tone Zakharoff. Dr. Plus. Now I'm stuck in between cosplay and real life, but Mr. Plus, what say you here, my friend? Final word. They always good to see you, and give yourself some, give yourself a drop. What's coming out for Real Bucs Talk here, or what just has come out?
Yeah, we just put out a video on the channel, so be sure to go check that out. Really just diving into what I'm going to say here. This Buccaneers team is for real. I think they're a legit contender. I think you have a lot to be excited about. I think a lot of the internal growth is taking place that, you guys have heard me talk about so much this offseason, but I think Yaya Diaby is becoming a legit pass rusher. Kalijah Kancey hasn't even played yet. And I think once you get all those guys on the field, it's going to be something to behold and something to be dangerous. And I think this team is just in a great place mentally. Locker room is on point, and it's just going to get better from here on out. So hopefully the team can stay or get healthy and then hopefully stay there. You always need those bounces, but yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and really looking forward to the weeks to come for this football team. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, Plus, you're welcome down anytime. The great Plus from Real Bucs Talk, one of the best in the business with film breakdowns and so much more. You could ask the Big J for what else he's good at, but we'll leave that on the down low for now. Jay might give some interesting answers there, but always thankful for a Plus appearance. Awesome stuff, Real Bucs Talk in general. And last but not least, the man who made his return today, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, the great A-Cats in the house. Cats, great to talk to you again, my friend, my brother from another mother. What's your final word?
Yeah, it is. It's fun to be back with y'all. And kind of just to reiterate, the Bucs have shown already. We're only 2 weeks in, and you can tell this team has a belief in themselves. And I like their mantra. They're saying, "Well, why not us?" You know what? I agree with them. Especially what we've already seen in just 2 weeks. What we saw. How close they came to the NFC title game last year rather. Yeah, why not us? And so far, I'm and hopefully we can get healthy soon. But I'm looking at them. Look, 3-0 is coming up soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping so as well, Cats. Great point. Once again, great talk to you, brother. It's been awesome. Hope to see you on plenty more as the fall and winter rolls as well. Great to have the great A-Cats back in the house. I remember meeting Cat over a decade ago. I'd seen him at a Rays game, and I was like, "Dad, I think that's Cat." And we introduced. Was sitting randomly right in front of me at a Rays game back in 2011, 2012. So me and Cats have been brothers ever since. It's awesome to have you back, Cats. My final word is this: Go Bucs, get to 3-0, do whatever the hell it takes. You can't overlook Denver. They're another team in the National Football League. I think we're going to roll them. I think we're going to stop him. Then it's game on. Take off the gloves. Eagles time. You can make a statement yet again week 4, but you can't get to that statement game without taking care of Denver first. Don't overlook these bastards. You know Sean Payton's whipping up a lot while doing some other things right now. That's for damn sure. But we love our lady listeners, Emily, Olivia. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much. And everybody else as well. Bud, Richard, Game On, Jonas, Cleve and me, Neil. The chat was Christopher. I mean, the chat was BB King. The chat was incredible tonight. Very lively, very much so. And I thank Gene, Katz, Plus, and J-Lo for helping bring this great group of Bucs fans to our podcast to have this conversation. But without further ado, Tones Decker off air, Dr. Plus, A-Cats, Gene, and J-Lo into the damn end zone. Touchdown Tampa Bay. We're out of here on the Buccateers and Buc What You Heard. Go eat your tacos on a Taco Tuesday, everybody. The PG kind, that is. Without further ado, before I get canceled, we're out of here. Tampa Tones, Gene, J-Lo, Dr. Plus, A-Cats in the house, and Huncho via chat. See you guys on the other side, guys. It was a fun one. Peace.
Have a good night, man. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, go Bucs, go Bucs. Fire the damn cannons. Go Bucs. Hit the like button, fire the cannons, and everything in between. Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. Energy, electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buck fans were there too.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little...
No, my camera's broke.